Ladies and gentlemen, silhouette of a perfect frame. Every time I see you, I get a bad vibe. Oh, baby, after the hoping and the praying and the wishing, girl, you're right here in my face. Breathe every single breath for you, baby. Can you take me telling you the truth when I know the situation looks shady? Yes, got your legs spread all over the bed. Don't take your love away. Loving, 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 loving you is easy. Long as I live, long as I live, I wanna be able to love you. I will feel this way till the end of time. When it hurts, will we still see what we got together? You and I, together for always, and now choose you again.
Avant was once hailed as the savior of R&B, a voice that could rival the greats. But what happened to his career might shock you. It's not what you think. People believed Avant's downfall was just the result of changing music trends, but the truth is much deeper than that. From industry betrayals to personal challenges, the story of Avant's rise and fall reveals a side of the music world that most people never see. Was it bad luck, poor decisions, or something else entirely? Here's the untold truth about what really happened to Avant and why his legacy is far more complicated than it seems. And it all started with a dream, a heartbreak, and a record label that almost didn't believe in him. Like and subscribe for more videos like this. Avant's story begins in Cleveland, Ohio, where he grew up surrounded by music and faith. Raised by his mother, Alberta, a telephone company employee, Avant knew early on that the streets weren't the life he wanted. Inspired by legendary R&B artists like Babyface and the Levert Family, he started singing in church at just 4 years old. But it wasn't until high school, when his dreams of becoming an athlete ended, that he truly turned his focus to music. To support his passion, Avant worked odd jobs, packing boxes in factories and even working at a peanut plant. But even then, he never lost sight of his dream. His big break came when he formed a group with friends and started performing at local talent shows. However, it wasn't until a chance studio session that everything changed. During that session, Avant recorded a track and listened back to his voice for the first time. It was a moment of clarity, not just for Avant, but for the studio owner, who recognized his potential. Encouraged to go solo, Avant began writing songs, channeling his heartbreak and struggles into relatable, emotional music. His breakthrough came with the song Separated, a raw, heartfelt track inspired by a painful breakup. The song quickly gained traction, climbing to the top of the R&B charts and proving Avant's ability to connect with listeners on a deeply emotional level. By the time his debut album, Shame My Thought, dropped in 2000, Avant was on fire. His collaboration with Kiki Wyatt on My First Love solidified his place as a rising star, showcasing his ability to deliver timeless R&B hits. But while Avant was celebrated by fans, critics weren't as kind. Many dismissed him as a Robert Kelly wannabe, an unfair comparison that overshadowed his unique artistry. Still, Avant refused to let the naysayers hold him back. With his smooth voice and honest lyrics, he quickly established himself as a force in R&B, even as the challenges of the music industry loomed ahead. But success in the music industry is never easy, and for Avant, the battle for recognition was just beginning. Little did he know, his biggest challenges were yet to come. Despite his early success, Avant quickly learned that the music industry could be as ruthless as it was rewarding. His sophomore album, Ecstasy, was ready to follow up on the success of his debut, with all the hallmarks of a classic R&B record: smooth beats, sentimental lyrics, and tracks that resonated with his audience. But MCA Records, his label at the time, didn't see it that way. Executives repeatedly delayed the album's release, claiming it didn't have any hit songs. For months, Avant's work sat on the shelf, gathering dust. It was a frustrating reality for an artist who had proven his talent and connection with fans. But instead of waiting for the label to come around, Avant took matters into his own hand. He and his team bypassed MCA entirely, sending the song Making Good Love directly to radio station. The gamble paid off. The song became an instant hit, dominating the airwaves and proving that Avant's music didn't need the label's approval to resonate with listeners. With the undeniable success of Making Good Love, MCA finally released the album in March 2002, and it performed well, solidifying Avant's place in the industry. But this wasn't the last time Avant would have to fight for his career. As the music industry shifted, with labels prioritizing younger, trendier artists, Avant found himself increasingly sidelined. Even as his songs climbed the charts, he faced constant comparisons to other R&B stars like Joe and Brian McKnight. The industry's favoritism for certain artists and its reluctance to fully back Avant's unique sound made every success an uphill battle. Avant's struggles with his label didn't just impact his career, they forced him to take risks that few artists were willing to take. He repeatedly proved that his music had a place in the R&B world, even when the industry didn't want to acknowledge it. But the fight to stay relevant in a changing industry wasn't the only challenge Avant faced. Public perception and personal setbacks would soon add even more pressure to his already difficult journey. By the early 2000s, Avant had cemented his reputation as a powerhouse in R&B. Songs like Separated and Read Your Mind kept him on the charts, while his soulful ballads connected with fans on a deeply emotional level. But as the music industry began to evolve, the rules of success changed, and not in Avant's favor. The rise of streaming platforms, shifting consumer preferences, and an influx of younger, trendier artists created a new playing field. Labels became more focused on viral moments and quick hits, leaving established R&B stars like Avant fighting for attention. Even though his music was still appreciated by die-hard fans, mainstream radio and industry executives were less interested in supporting old-school R&B. Avant's commitment to staying true to himself, while admirable, also became a double-edged sword. Unlike many artists who reinvented their image to fit the latest trends, Avant stuck to his roots, crafting songs that reflected his authentic voice and experiences. While this earned him respect, it also made it harder for him to compete with artists who were willing to chase the spotlight at any cost. And yet, Avant's legacy continued to grow among fans who valued substance over hype. Albums like Director and Private Room showcased his ability to evolve without losing the essence of his sound. His collaborations with producers like Jermaine Dupri and Rodney Darkchild Jerkins brought new energy to his music, but they weren't enough to regain the full support of the industry. The shift wasn't just about the music, it was also about perception. In an industry obsessed with youth and appearance, Avant's refusal to conform made him an outsider, but instead of compromising, he doubled down on what he did best: making music that told real stories, connected emotionally, and resonated with those who truly listened. But even as Avant stayed true to himself, public scrutiny and personal challenges would push him further away from the mainstream spotlight. The backlash he faced next would test his resilience in ways he never expected. For Avant, the challenges of navigating the music industry were only part of the story. Public perception became another major hurdle, as scrutiny over his personal life and appearance began to overshadow his music. In October 2016, a photo of Avant surfaced online, showing him looking noticeably heavier than fans were used to. The internet, as ruthless as ever, turned the image into a source of ridicule. Social media users flooded timelines with jokes, with one person cruelly writing, "Avant went from reading your mind to only reading menus," while another photo from the same event proved the first image was just an unflattering angle. The damage was done. The viral moment sparked a wave of negative commentary that was hard to ignore. Unfortunately, the public's focus on Avant's appearance wasn't a one-time event. In 2019, a shocking rumor circulated that Avant was battling lupus and had only 6 months to live. This uncredited claim spread like wildfire, causing panic among fans and dominating online discussions. But the rumor turned out to be a complete hoax, with Avant later confirming that he was healthy and had no idea where the story had come from. These incidents highlighted how public perception often distracted from Avant's work and legacy. Instead of celebrating his contributions to R&B, many people focused on surface-level narratives and gossip. And in an era where social media could make or break public figures, these distractions made it even harder for Avant to regain his footing in the industry. Despite the negativity, Avant never allowed public perception to define him. He continued releasing music, including his 2019 single, Not Gone Lose, which served as both a personal anthem and a message to his fans. It was his way of proving that he wasn't giving up, no matter what the industry or the internet threw his way. But while Avant refused to let public perception derail his career, the fight to remain relevant in a fast-changing industry was far from over. As the spotlight dimmed, Avant turned his focus to what mattered most, staying true to himself and his craft. As the music industry shifted, staying relevant became a challenge for many artists from Avant's era. For Avant, it was no longer just about making great music. It was about finding ways to connect with an audience that was now being bombarded with viral moments, streaming algorithms, and ever-changing trends. After parting ways with Geffen Records, Avant signed with Capitol Records and released his fifth album in 2008. Despite its quality, the album struggled to make an impact, and his time with the label was short-lived. Reflecting on the experience, Avant told Billboard, "I don't really have time for someone to try to figure out how to work with me or me with them." It was a sentiment that reflected his frustration with an industry that seemed unwilling to adapt to his style or value his contributions. In 2010, Avant released The Letter under Verve Forecast Records, followed by Face the Music in 2013, which included the hit duet You and I with Keke Wyatt. The song became a fan favorite and a reminder of Avant's ability to create timeless music. Yet despite his efforts, mainstream radio and industry recognition remained elusive. Avant's approach to music was simple: authenticity over trends. He refused to chase gimmicks or compromise his artistic integrity to fit the mold of what was popular. While this earned him the respect of his loyal fans, it also meant he was often overlooked in an industry obsessed with reinvention and constant reinvention. By 2019, Avant returned with the single Not Gone Lose, a defiant anthem that captured his determination to keep pushing forward. He also signed with SRG/ILS Group and began working on his 9th studio album. In interviews, Avant made it clear that he wasn't interested in competing for the spotlight, but instead focused on creating music that stayed true to his identity. Avant even branched out into new creative territories, teaming up with writer Vincent Dixon on the book The Trial of Mankind, a thought-provoking story about the mistreatment of animals. This project demonstrated Avant's willingness to explore new ways of expressing himself and his values. Despite the challenges, Avant's legacy remains intact. His music continues to resonate with fans who appreciate his storytelling and emotional depth. He told the Boombox, "Mainstream radio doesn't respect older musicians because they think the younger generation isn't interested in old school R&B music." Yet Avant has never let this deter him. For him, it's about staying true to his craft, even if it means carving out his own path in a crowded industry. Avant's journey hasn't been without its struggles, but through it all, he's remained steadfast in his dedication to music and his fans. And as we reflect on his career, one question remains: is staying true to yourself worth the cost in an industry driven by trends? Avant's resilience in the face of adversity speaks volumes about his character as both an artist and a person. While many artists succumb to the pressures of reinvention or pandering to industry trends, Avant consistently prioritized his authenticity. This commitment is evident not just in his music, but in the decisions he made throughout his career. Take, for example, his ability to adapt without compromising his artistry. When MCA and later Geffen Records failed to fully support his vision, Avant didn't give up. He found alternative ways to push his music. By sending tracks like Making Good Love and Read Your Mind directly to radio stations, he proved time and time again that his work could stand on its own. But Avant's struggles with the industry weren't just about creative freedom. They also highlighted a systemic issue in how veteran artists are treated. As R&B evolved into a more mainstream, pop-infused genre, many of its pioneers were left behind. Avant himself acknowledged this in an interview, stating that the industry's obsession with younger, trendier artists often pushes seasoned musicians into the shadows. Despite this, Avant never compromised his sound, choosing instead to focus on his loyal fan base and staying true to his roots. One of the clearest examples of Avant's staying power is his ongoing collaboration with Kiki Wyatt. Their duets, particularly My First Love and You and I, remain iconic staples in the R&B genre. These songs highlight Avant's strength as a storyteller, his ability to craft lyrics that resonate emotionally, and his chemistry with other artists. Even as trends come and go, these tracks have endured, solidifying Avant's place in R&B history. In addition to his music, Avant's willingness to explore other creative outlets demonstrates his depth as an artist. His co-authorship of The Trial of Mankind isn't just a surprising move. It's a testament to his passion for addressing meaningful issues and connecting with audiences in new ways. While it might seem unconventional for an R&B star to write a book, it's entirely in line with Avant's approach, carving his own path, regardless of what others expect. While Avant's dedication to authenticity is admirable, it raises a bigger question. In an industry driven by fame and trends, is staying true to yourself enough to sustain a career? Avant's story may not have the fairy tale ending some expected, but his journey offers a lesson in perseverance, artistry, and self-respect.